Hey, Fran Fam, welcome to another episode of Life in Style with Francine. Happy first of the month. It is July. Man, 6 months,
Yeah.
2020 have passed on, and we are in the seventh month of 2020. And my God, the first 6 months have been a doozy. But I've got a special guest here for you, Marci B. Known, actually, Marci B. She is the owner of Sync Sales and Marketing. And this is an opportunity. I'm so glad she's here because I wanted to highlight Black-owned businesses for July. I don't know if you guys saw my post, but Marci is my first business that I'm interviewing for July. And she's here to talk about what she offers, some of the services that she offers, how she's coping with COVID, if she's coping and had any, situations occur as a result of it. We've all been affected, of course. So please join me in welcoming Marci B to the show. Hey, Marci.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, honey?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I am hanging in there. Can't complain. Happy to have you on the show to talk about your
Cool.
business. It's an honor to have a Black-owned business and a woman-owned business on the show today. It's
Thank you.
my
Thank
first
you.
business for July. We're endeavoring to interview and highlight Black-owned businesses for the month of July and forward. So let's talk a little bit about your background, how you got started, all that
Okay.
stuff. Fill us in.
Okay.
You okay?
Hold on one second. You know what? There's something that is bothering my eye. Give me 1 second, please. Let
Okay,
me handle this.
sure. That's okay. We're gonna roll with it, guys. Hey,
All
May.
right. I think I got it.
Okay,
All right.
that's okay.
All right.
Go ahead. I want you to be
All right.
comfortable. Yes.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Marci Bryant, the corporate marketer. I'm excited to be here on Life and Style with Francine Walker. Thanks so much for inviting me to be here today.
Well, thank you for being here, my dear. Thank you. Talk a little bit about your what you do with Sync Sales and Marketing.
So I am a corporate marketer, and with Sync Sales and Marketing, I help STEM-based corporations align their sales and marketing to improve their client experience and improve their sales.
Okay. Um, I just want to also mention that you offer these services. What exactly do you offer?
So in terms of the sales process, I help them figure out a lot of times companies, if they have an in-person experience, how to create that in a digital environment, which is very good with everything that's going on with the pandemic, because a lot of the interactions that were face to face, people are having to have digitally now. And sometimes they're having some difficulty making that transition.
Sure.
So the same type of relationships that they would be looking to build in person, I'm helping them to build that through marketing collateral and content and sales funnels.
Okay. Okay. Break that down for us, Marci. What exactly does
Sure.
it look like? For someone that may want to utilize your services, what does that look like?
So usually when somebody says that they want a graphic, maybe a flyer or a website, they really want sales. They really want more business for their business.
Got it.
But they know that marketing is a means to an end.
Okay.
And a lot of times when you're creating the sales process, remember that old saying, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing.
Sure.
Sometimes that can be the case between sales and marketing. So understanding the different phases of the sales process, which would be acquisition, conversion, and then actual execution for the client. Helping businesses understand how marketing communications, whether it be social media traffic, an ad, a landing page, a form, whatever the case may be. However you communicate with your client, it shouldn't just be by happenstance. Everything should be very specific and planned. And I help you plan out that conversation with the customer so that they can get to know you, get to trust you, and look forward to doing business with you.
Now, are there specific industries that you address, or are you across the board? Do you take on any client?
I am able to take on any client, I think, but the ones that I have the most success and the most fun with are STEM-based companies. And I
Okay.
think STEM can be a broader base than some people think. So, for instance, I have a friend that's into balloons, and sometimes I'll talk to her and give her marketing strategies and tips. Even though the average person might just think, hey, that's event planning, you're dealing with helium, you're dealing with creating different layouts and engineering designs. Even though it's with the balloon, that's still changing the shape of something with air. So that's still science.
Sure.
Dealing with caterers and restaurateurs, food, you're still dealing with science there. So those are some of the STEM-based clients who may not think I'm a good fit for them, but I actually am. And then some clients that are really hardcore STEM would be a telecommunications company that I've worked with, a few cannabis dispensary companies,
Yeah.
and caregivers that I've worked with, and even some automotive manufacturers. And I think the most unique will probably be a post-mortem equipment manufacturer.
Wow. Now, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
So anatomy labs, necropsy labs,
Wow.
mortuaries, morgues,
Yeah.
medical examiners' offices. So dealing with the equipment that's manufactured to go in those places so that the bodies could be handled with care and dignity, and so that the people caring for those bodies would also keep their safe and healthy in mind, safety and health in mind.
And I'm just going to ask this question. I know that, of course, everything, needs marketing. How would you market a company of that magnitude?
Which one are you talking about? Because I spoke about several of them.
Postmortem, which is very
All the
interesting to me. Yeah.
So the postmortem equipment manufacturer. So some of the things that we focused on were safety, dignity, and workflow. So for this company, their sales process was long, maybe sometimes 1 year to 2 years, because these could be 6 to 7 figure deals that they were working on. It
Okay.
had to go through multiple departments. So understanding what each one of those stakeholders needed from that sale, because what's important to the engineer and the HVAC person is absolutely different than what's important to the accountant or the marketing person. So
Okay.
understanding the personas, the pain points of each one of those shareholders, creating content that addresses them, but also gets at what the big pain points are of the project as a whole. So those individual stakeholders will have needs, but also the project as a whole, as an umbrella, will have needs. So for instance, if you're looking at some new refrigeration for a morgue, we know that the big goal is you've got to have so many bodies that you can get in there, and you have to have logistics for keeping things safe, and making it comfortable, a comfortable temperature for the people on the outside, not getting people locked in, just simple things like that. But
Wow.
then all the elements of it, which would be, how much does it cost? What is the time frame for the subscription? How much does it cost for each one of these bodies to be in here? What is the return on investment for that? How do we use this particular aspect as a perk within our business, whether it be a morgue or even a university anatomical lab? How do we use this particular product as a way to make our business look better? So that's just a few different elements of how the same product is viewed from different aspects, and
Very
making
expensive.
sure all those different elements are included in the
Wow.
communications.
Girl. You are definitely no slouch. That's for sure. That's very extensive. But I guess you would have to dig deep, to arrive, especially when you're talking about a $6 and $7 million deal.
6 and 7 figure, yeah, sometimes.
I'm sorry, not 7 million, but a 7-figure dollar deal. Yeah, I guess you would have to dig that deep and get that
Mhm.
extensive and be that specific to be that strategic, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you've got really technical things like product descriptions and safety data sheets, things like that. They still, even though it's very technical information, it still has to be easy to read, easy to understand, informative, sometimes cheeky, depending on what it is.
Wow. And you do all of that.
I have done elements of all of that, yes.
Okay. Okay. Are you independent as far as, do you have a team or do you do everything yourself? Do you what's the word? You farm out? I
I
don't.
have a team. I delegate tasks. I am primarily responsible for the strategy,
Okay.
and I would say the high level work I am personally responsible for. But I have recently grown enough to have a team of people. I don't have any full-time team members, but I do have people that I rely on for my projects, depending on what they need. So I've got some services that are meant for me to strategize with a marketing or creative team that exists to
Mhm.
give them a pathway forward or some strategy. But if there is a company that does not already have the team in line, I do have those creative assets such as web designers, graphic designers, copywriters and even project managers that I rely on consistently to help me get the job done.
Do you find that works better for you than doing everything yourself?
I had to go that way because it's just me. It's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. Did you initially start out, or did you identify, when did you decide you were going to talk about your background? And then this question will make sense as it relates to how you started and became where you are today. When did you decide? Let's talk about, because your resume, your bio, it's probably as long as I am tall. Uh, I mean,
There's a lifetime of experiences on there,
yeah,
and I'll tell you why.
yeah,
My mother worked at the TV station. So you said you're a Detroiter, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
my mother worked at WDIV when I was growing up. So I
Okay.
was a WDIV kid. And growing up, WDIV had the type of environment where you didn't necessarily have to have a babysitter or latchkey. If you had a well-behaved child, they were welcome to come to the station afterwards. There was a cafeteria, a gym, and there were so many different things going on that kids could learn from. We were welcome to come in and learn about it.
Mhm.
And Robinson Furniture was casting for a local commercial. They needed kids, and my mom was co-workers and good friends with an executive producer named Randy Henry, who is still a
Yeah.
big part of my life now. Yeah,
Okay.
and he invited me to be in the Robinson Furniture commercial, and I have been in love with that ever since. And I
Yeah.
was in elementary school when that happened. So that's how I got my start. And then they invited me back to do a Christmas special at the Ford Mansion with Mark Krim, Carmen Harlan, and it was my segment included Isaiah Thomas reading
Yeah.
us the Christmas story and talking about what our favorite Christmas gift was. So I talked about my Barbie doll set.
Yeah.
And those two experiences just really got me hooked. I loved commercials as a kid. I always sang them as a kid. And as I got older, when it was time for me to decide what I wanted to do, that was just a natural decision. I wanted to know why I loved commercials, and I wanted to make the type of commercials that other people grew to love.
Wow. How amazing. Now, is your mom still at WDIV?
No, my mother passed the morning after Mother's Day 2013.
Oh,
And about a year after she passed, I decided I didn't have any children when she passed. I didn't have my own legacy. So it's amazing how dealing with the grief of the loss of loved ones makes you think about what your legacy is, what you have to leave on this earth.
I
And
understand.
so I felt like the best way that I could honor her was to use my talents to create something that improved the industry, improved the world as a whole, but made me happy and was
Oh, wow.
a contribution to what she poured into me. And
No.
it could be something for me to leave my daughter, which I now have.
Oh, yeah, I lost my mom in 2012, so I totally understand that that prompting to do something different with your life, and legacy is certainly important. How old is your daughter?
Yeah. My daughter will be 2 in August.
Oh, what's her
Yeah.
name?
Her name is Nakia Sierra McNair.
Nakia Sierra. What a pretty name. So,
Thank you.
so it sounds like your path was kind of set for you and created this interest in marketing, because a lot of
Yeah.
commercials, you want to do effective marketing, effective advertising. So that's how you
Yeah.
create the concept. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's accurate. I think that my path had a lot of detours on the way to this, but absolutely.
Yeah.
So in college, I had internships with Don Coleman Advertising, which became Global Hue,
Yeah.
of like the number one multicultural marketing firm in the country. It's no longer, but at one
You
point in the
were.
2000s, it
You
was
were
very
too.
popular.
Yeah.
So I had an internship with them, and I was a copywriter. So when I was a college sophomore, it was okay to just be a copywriter and then to work with a graphic designer. But it took me 5 years to graduate. And in those 3 years, the industry shifted. So if you were a graphic designer that knew how to write, you could probably find a job. But if you were a writer that didn't know how to be a graphic designer, you're probably going to end up in sales. So
Okay.
I had desires to end up in an advertising agency, and I ended up selling cell phones.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you become an entrepreneur, as far as, your company, you know, and discover that, okay, this is what I want to do from this point? This is because obviously you didn't want to sell cell phones.
Right. So the first opportunity that I had came right around the same time that I started selling cell phones. Do you remember Fitness USA?
Girl, yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you remember Northland Mall, there was like this Wheel of Fortune type thing inside of the
Yeah.
cafeteria at Northland Mall.
Yeah.
So there was an advertisement to work for that. And it was a part-time job. There really wasn't experience required. But once the lady met me and gave me 2 weeks to do the job on my own, she saw my background in advertising. It was special events, and you got leads for names and telephone numbers and sometimes email addresses in exchange for giving certificates to get free or discounted things at local businesses. And so I became very good at that. She allowed me to hire subcontractors. I worked remotely and trained them pretty much on the phone. This was like early 2000s, and had a remote team.
Yeah.
And we were killing it. We were like the best team between Indiana and Michigan. And that was how I got my first taste of entrepreneurship. They paid me per lead, and then I paid my people per lead. I would pop in sometimes, but I didn't even have to be there. They were well trained. We did our weekly meetings on the phone and shared best practices and role played. And they
So,
did that while I went to work and got my money
isn't
elsewhere.
that interesting that this was early 2000 and here we are 2020,
Yeah.
with the pandemic still in effect. Rona has
Yeah.
not gone anywhere. People think she's gone and she's over in the corner, you know.
She will be nowhere soon.
So it has forced a lot of companies to go remote. They're shutting
Yeah.
down their brick and mortars and seeing that we've got something here. So here we
Mm-hmm.
are, fast forward 2020 from early 2000s, where you were already working remotely,
Yeah.
successfully, managing a team remotely, kicking butt with sales. And we're here met with that same challenge. Uh,
That's right. That's
which I
right.
think is amazing. It's a great opportunity, and I think it's proven to companies that they can do what you did in 2000, early 2000s. Now, can you identify with this, because you've already been there? You were light years.
Yeah. So I've been in the industry long enough. To see things shift from traditional to digital marketing. So when I started, television ads, radio ads, print ads were very prominent, and we still had dial-up we were still in dial-up when I got started in
Yeah.
the industry. So that's how long it's been. I actually worked at AT&T Advertising Solutions, the real Yellow Pages, when they were making their transition from print to digital marketing. And they were actually very stuck, focused on trying to make people do this print at a time where digital was where it's at. You want people to buy print on the Yellow Pages, but Google's got ads available.
Yeah.
So I saw that transition. It was very interesting.
So now we're forced to embrace more. I mean, digital marketing is certainly present now, but we're forced to do so many things remotely. And rely on the virtual experience. I mean, even now, what we're doing, it's not new as far as people are doing Zoom meetings, Zoom interviews, FaceTime this, whatever. They're utilizing technology and eliminating a lot of overhead, eliminating, and here it is. With us getting banned from leaving the United States to go anywhere but to the kitchen, we're being banned from coming, going to Europe at this point because of whatever. Well, I know whatever. I mean, just this lack of responsibility for flattening the curve, nationwide. Travel. So we're looking at businesses that are overseas in other countries that we can't even travel to for a business meeting.
But you can do business anywhere you want to now more than ever.
Yeah.
You're realizing the business meeting that you traveled to Paris for, you could have just Zoomed.
You could
and paid the consultant the extra money and got more bang for your buck. Yeah. That's what this is all about.
Exactly. And guess what? I really don't believe we're ever going back to that. Do you?
Me neither. No, I don't. There's too much change that's being required. There are too many sacrifices that are having to be made. And I think that unfortunately this virus has so much permanence. It's completely tearing apart our foundation of what normal used to be. We have to create a new normal. And we're like, really, in order to survive this as a race. I mean, like as a full species, as a human race. Thinking about trying to go back. I mean, we love human interaction, but we're going to have to figure out digital connectedness in order to survive in the near future. And when companies are having to make all these decisions and these sacrifices, they have to look at, okay, what about this is working? Where are we saving? What can we stick with? They're seeing that people might enjoy their jobs a little bit more. People are happier. The two things that I forget to do working from home are to go to lunch and to get off work. I am my most cheerful when I'm able to shower and put pajamas back on to work for the day.
Exactly.
And I'm sure many other people are too.
Yeah.
We're making it work. This is people's dream life. I hate that it took a pandemic, but folks are, I've been praying all my life to work from home. I hate rush hour traffic. There's no rush hour traffic. They're just logging in the Zoom now.
I can't stand driving. For that reason, I shouldn't say I don't mind driving if I'm taking a side street or I'm not on anybody's expressway. I know I had a contract downtown and I live in Oakland County. So that meant, okay, I've got to get on either the Lodge or 75 at this time. And it was so stressful. And it was like, I need some wine. I need something. I need some cookies. It was just it was very stressful because I was not used to that kind of commute. So when this happened, it was just like, let's roll with it,
That's right.
It's like, okay, once I'm done, I can throw back on my little caftan and keep it moving. It's like, okay,
that's right.
And get done. And that's what I find. It's like, pull yourself away. I can identify with what you're saying because it's like, I can be on my laptop and it's like, it doesn't feel like work,
I can work in the backyard chilling with my feet in the grass.
Oh,
And when you're doing what you love, it really doesn't feel like work.
it really doesn't. And I
That's the
really
greatest gift.
believe, I think given what we are going through, you talked about us surviving as a people, and it's very important for us to note that what we're seeing, and you can chime in, what we're seeing now is this onslaught of just overt racism. We're getting smacked in the face. I mean, it's been there. We're definitely not, this is not new, but we're just seeing act after act after act, excuse me, that is proving to be very stressful. So it's important. Would you say it's important for us to have that slice of joy, that something that gives us the relief from what we're witnessing as everything is getting turned over? The tables literally are getting turned over as Jesus had done.
Yeah,
The tables are
absolutely.
getting turned over and people are reacting because it's like, whoa, this is big change. So I'm witnessing that, and it's like, but guess what? I can stay home.
Yeah,
Do what I
absolutely.
do, and not feel the stress of it all. I can check out,
Yeah.
but imagine going into a job, having to, because companies are still trying to figure out how to communicate what is happening, say the right things, maybe low key not address it. But I'm just glad I'm not in that position where I've got to have that uncomfortable conversation with somebody that's in a cubicle next to me because they don't.
Interesting enough, I also have a day job in corporate America that I love very much. I'm in the automotive industry.
Okay.
And so I'm living both of those lives. I'm learning about these things from the aspect of an entrepreneur that's helping people with digital marketing. So I'm benefiting from that shift. But then on the other side, as working for an automotive manufacturer, I'm seeing how they care about people. So we are getting messages letting us know that they care about us, what their stances are on racism, on George Floyd, on Breonna Taylor, and on Black Lives Matter. They're putting their money where their mouth is with donations to different charitable organizations. I can't remember them right offhand, but that is part of what I've seen. And then on Juneteenth, they put on everybody's calendar in the company, or at least in my department, an 8-minute and 46-second moment of silence on Juneteenth.
Wow.
And it came with a letter letting them know that they had empathy for the plight that was facing people of color, especially Black people in America, and that their company has always cared about contributing to our community and helping us move forward in life. And this is my second time working for the employer. And the first time I worked for them, I did not get this feeling of being valued, not on my team, not as a part of the company. But to leave a company and to come back and to see how they've grown and to see how much more I feel appreciated as a human and as a valued member of the team, this is the type of environment, this is the type of thing that you work for so that you can determine, hey, this is how much I want to get paid. This is the type of people that I want to work with. This is the type of environment that I want to be in. If you can't meet these demands, that's okay. There's somebody else out there that will. So I'm grateful that I'm with the company that I'm with. I'm an expert. I'm working with experts, and I feel like a valued member of the team. I don't feel like I'm further valued or less valued because of my color. I just feel valued for what I bring to the table.
And that's a good thing. So it lets me know that even as companies grow, as yours did from the first time you were there, that it is possible if companies put in that work to make, because everybody should come to work and feel valued. You're there 40 hours, 60 out, 50 hours. You should feel valued.
But that it starts at the top. The way that people are treated, the culture starts from the top. So the first time I was there, and everything that changed because of the CEO. A lot of people got fired, a lot of positions got lost, a lot of these different levels of hierarchy were flattened so that there could be more communication and more productivity, and more just human connection.
Sure.
And so even though I lost my job, for a lot of the people who did, the consequences of that is that I think it actually turned out to be a better business, especially better for the people that work there, which means they create better products for the end user, right?
Right. Right.
And so I'm grateful that regardless of the consequence and the sacrifices, unfortunately, to people that it took, at the end of the day, it's a better company that I get to be a part of, and I'm excited about that.
Sure, sure. So you have full time, and then you have
Mhm.
your business. Um,
Yeah.
how do you find balance? What made you decide? So you're working full time, and when did
Mhm.
you decide, I want to do this? I want to do Marci B marketing as well. What made you
So
decide to do that? I mean, not that you can't
it,
do both, but what made you decide?
yeah, but why? So there were a few things. The first thing is that I worked for a telecommunications firm, and the job stressed me out really bad. It
Okay,
made me sick, very sick. I lost about close to 60 pounds in a year without a day of diet and exercise, just from being ill and stressed out.
that's stress.
And every time my doctor signed off for me to go back to work, I would be ill within a week, and then it would take me like 3 to 5 weeks to recover. So they said, well, we'll let you come back to the company, but we can't let you come back to that role because that'll make us liable if something ultimately happens to you that gets worse in this situation. And this employer would just not help me find any other role. Like, I was doing a customer service role. I've got a marketing MBA with a 3.67 GPA, and I'm working on a graphic design and web design certification. And you can't find anything in the entire country that I could even interview for? That's unreasonable.
Yeah.
So this job stressed me out to the point where I didn't enjoy life anymore. I didn't have my health anymore. It
Mm.
was a life-changing experience, and I just decided that at that moment I was not going to do any more jobs that I love. I was going to work my tail to the bone to fill in these missing pieces that was stopping me from really getting the type of career in life that I desired. So I continued upon my craft and graphic and web design to figure that out. But I was on disability making, so I started off at like $12 an hour plus like $3,800 commission. But when you're sick and shut in, you're at 60% of your base pay, which I went from $12 an hour plus $4,000 commission to $7.20 an hour. So being sick and being broke and being unhappy with everything that you're doing in life, it just wasn't a good fit. So I decided that I wanted to take charge of my life. And I felt like the only thing that couldn't be taken from me, and that the only thing that I had control over, was whatever I created for myself, especially with Michigan becoming a right to work state and unions just going haywire and berserk. I didn't feel like there was any security left in the American dream. Sure, there are benefits, but the thing that's mine that I could hold on to was what I created. And so that was where my inspiration came from, just being down and out because I was burnt out by an employer that would burn me into the ground and then go replace me with another employee I did before the land over my body could heal properly.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
really the way I felt about it.
Yeah. That is amazing. I love that you know, were able to rebound after that terrible tribulation, you know. It's it speaks to the corporate stress
Mm.
that we are plagued with sometimes. And sometimes people they don't have, well, I shouldn't say they don't dig deep enough for the options,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they stay. But 60 pounds, that's a sign that you need to do something different, you know. That's
Well, here was the trigger. So I was at home ill, and I started applying for other jobs just to see what was out there because I couldn't be ill and unemployed forever. So I got a call from the AARP in DC, as I was making $7.20 an hour, and they talked to me about a job making 80 grand in DC. So it sounded like a dream come true. But
Yeah.
then when I told them I didn't have any graphic design experience outside of like PowerPoint, making cute flowers in PowerPoint, they're like, no, we need full Adobe Creative Suite. And they ended the interview. They wouldn't even finish talking to me. It was like, okay, that's enough. That's the minimum qualification. And so I found out finally what I absolutely had to do to get the type of job that I dreamed about. So within 30 days, I was enrolled in a graphic and web design program, and I graduated with a 3.98. And my carear has turned around ever since I went and got that skill.
Now,
It's just about putting the missing pieces together.
In 30 days, was it like a standalone, or was it through a university? Because you graduated from Michigan State, correct?
Yeah, so I graduated from Michigan State, but I also graduated from University of Phoenix with the MBA. But in neither one of those was graphic design a requirement. So here's a story about dealing with your own stuff and being honest with yourself about your own insecurities. So for the longest, I thought that I wasn't an artist. I thought that I was a good writer, but I thought I wasn't a good artist. So every time I was trying to do this marketing stuff, I would be trying to communicate with graphic designers, but the best that they could get was their interpretation of whatever I communicated. But it was never what I saw in my head. So in order for me to get what I saw in my head, I had to learn how to do it. But in elementary school, I got this thing in my head as a gifted and talented art student that I was going to draw this amazing picture of the Detroit River, the Ambassador Bridge, and the Renaissance with a perfect sunset in an oil canvas painting in 5th grade. And because I could not get that one particular vision right, I decided that I wasn't a good artist. So every chance I had to avoid discipline in that craft, I avoided it because I was afraid, thinking that I wasn't good at it. It wasn't until I was faced with an $80,000 no that I made a decision to overcome that fear, to face it, because I realized this fear is getting in the way of my dreams.
That's good.
And if I don't attack this, I will never become the career and the professional that I want to be. And so that's what caused me to enroll. So even though I had been to school twice, there was no way getting around learning this thing. It was either learn this thing and get your dreams, or say forget it and forget your dreams. Those were the only two choices.
That says a lot about you as a woman who decides, first of all, to face your stuff, whatever it is. It takes courage. It certainly takes tenacity, perseverance. It's not always pretty, you know. It takes.
It's usually not. Growth never happens in the pretty stages.
God, you know,
never.
Away. But it takes.
That's comfort. Pretty is comfort. Pretty is not growth.
God,
ugly, disgusting.
So that's
blood, sweat, and tears is growth.
You know, it just says a lot, and it's an inspiration to someone who may be watching that's at a crossroad, to hear your story and hear you at your own personal crossroad decide, I'm not taking no, and I'm gonna fix this. But I'm not,
I didn't have a choice but to take that no. All I knew is that would be the only time I would get a no for that thing. That was the most expensive no I've ever had. You can tell me no for about a lot of stuff, but you cannot tell me no for that thing anymore.
Exactly. But you took that no and you grew from it. It was someone I was interviewing before. He's a fashion designer, and I was saying, I gotta ask these, ask this person, can they be on the show? And it's like, but what if they say no? He says, well, no makes you grow. It's like, so
the worst they can say is no. And if you're no worse off than you currently are, you can only go up from there.
Yeah, that is good. That is really a very inspirational point. I know we were talking about the business, but your story is just a great story for any person who has come to this place and they need to understand their worth. You knew your worth.
Thank you.
You knew
it took a while.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to that. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's an evolution of understanding. Just had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine, and they said they don't want to pay me. I said, then the conversation's over. That's that's it.
That's an indication that it's not a good fit. You're not
That's
going to
not a
talk
good,
people into paying you if they don't see the
yeah.
value.
If
That's
they
not right.
well, we can't pay you, I said, then the conversation is over. You know,
Unless you're into volunteerism.
and if you're into volunteerism, but
That's great.
if you approach me for something that is not a volunteer activity,
Yeah.
the conversation is over.
Absolutely. And I'm fine. It took a very long time to be there. So now I work with, work on 4-figure projects just for my business. And I'm finally getting into 5-figure clients. But I started off doing $50 flyers
My
and
hero.
that taking hours and getting multiple revisions. And I was just burnt out like, it's going to be forever before I see a profit at $50 a pop. Something has got to give.
Yeah. How did you eventually graduate from 50,000 to 5 figures? What was the shift for you?
So again, life and death. So July 6th, and it's odd because if you go to my website now, marcibryant.com, you'll see that I say I'm accepting new clients on July 6th. I'm reopening my business after some time shutting down to restructure. Well, July 6th, 4 years ago, is when Philando Castile had passed. And the day before that, Alton Sterling passed. And I just felt overwhelmed and surrounded by grief and loss.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine had passed earlier in the year, and she asked that her ashes be put in the Detroit River. And so she was a revolutionary. And on that day, I wanted to feel close to her. So I went to Belle Isle by the Detroit River, and her name was Legacy. And I just kept hearing this word legacy in the wind. Again, what is your legacy? And I was like, so I started this business in honor of my mom, but this doesn't feel like what it's supposed to be like. What is my legacy like? What do I really, 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 really want? And I was like, I want to be an internet personality. I want to be on the internet teaching people about how marketing can change their business. If I really dig deep and I'm honest with myself, I think my best opportunity to affect change doing the things that I love is by becoming a course creator and an online influencer. And then I got this panic of fear and I was like, I don't know anybody who knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Everything in life has been, if they can do it, I can do it.
Why not?
My degree. Yeah, my degrees, my jobs that I got. Yeah. But I didn't know anybody who had done that. So I literally had to find mentors and role models in books.
And here you
That's where I got my start, reading and searching on the internet. And because I got into funnels, that made me more interested in how to get into that. And so I found a girl who lives in Detroit and quit her corporate job at working on multi-million-dollar projects for DTE. Her name is Jerisha Hawk. And she talks about services that sell and how to get high ticket clients doing what you love and really crafting it as your expertise and making a living from it. And after a few years of following her, I decided to become a student, and it's really changed my business. So just investing in myself and really learning my craft. So I've spent 4 years disciplining this and learning this and looking at the technology, the software, the strategy, thousands of dollars spent in software and courses and things. But here I am knowing my stuff, being an expert, and I'm ready to teach the world what I know.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for you. I really
Thank you.
am. I'm so glad we had this opportunity to talk. And really,
Likewise.
I find I love this so much because I think it's just a divinely ordered that I'm talking to people that I'm speaking with. So, because I'm learning so much every time I talk to somebody, they teach me something. So it's just so inspirational to hear.
Thank you.
What do you say to someone that might be at this crossroad that we talked about? What would you tell them if they were where you are right now? Not where you are right now, where you were. What would you say to them?
If I was talking to someone that was at a crossroad about their professional life, I would ask them to dig deep and be honest with themselves in a way that they can't be honest with anybody else. about what their desires of their heart truly are, what challenges are in their way, what fears are stopping them, and what sacrifices are going to be required in order to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't make it to that thing, what can you look forward to learning and becoming on the way to it? Because you may have a goal, right? But life is what happens to you on your way to that goal. You usually never make that goal specifically. But if you can keep the end goal in mind, but be okay with the journey. For instance, if you're in a relay race, you start off in 8 different rows, but usually after you get to a certain place, everybody ends up in the same lane to cross the same finish line. So if you think about that with your life and your goals, no matter what lane you start in, as long as you get to the finish line, usually if you don't make your goal, you make something better than your goal and you grow into something even better than you thought you could, just because you are open to the process of growth and the journey that's required in order to grow.
Girl, you better preach. I'm giving you my offering. Right, I'm cash apping you right now.
Thank you.
That spoke to me. Maybe I was asking for me, and everybody else was just benefiting.
Yeah.
That's powerful, powerful,
Thank
powerful.
you.
One last question before we close the show. How do you balance? Because you said you're reopening your business, correct? On July.
Yes.
But were you at a point where you were doing both and you found that you lacked balance because you work full time, and then you have these big clients,
Yeah.
if they're paying you 4 to 5 figures, they're expecting something from you that requires time and
Yeah.
commitment.
Yes. So, one of the big things about me and the benefits of working with me being STEM is that I understand science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, I understand how technology supports things to make you more productive, more efficient. So, I use third-party software that I can go source for qualified talent through a particular vetting process. And after those people do an apprenticeship, those are the people that come on board. They start off with practice assignments, whether it be working on a small assignment for me or something for a client that I'm able to manage without it being too much damage if it doesn't go right. And then they grow into being a member of my staff. I talk to members of my sorority about helping out with internships. There are people in my community who are interested in becoming marketers. So these are people that I teach and get to help me, and I hire them specifically for projects. And I don't hire people until I know I've got the project secured. So
Yeah.
I'm never offering too much work. I'm never offering more money out than what I'm getting in. And it's just about delegating tasks. Fortunately, my job in the middle of this pandemic gave me a day off. So I picked Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday is their day. And then Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday are the days that I focus on my business. But because I'm home and I've got a family, I'm also seeing about my family as the woman of the house while I'm doing all those things. So time management, calendars, systems and processes, hiring experts to build out systems and automate them and actually put them into workflows so that once the person starts off with the email, they go into a full client experience that I have personally crafted for them based on what I know their needs are, and they show me that their pain points are. So those are some of the things that make working for yourself while working for somebody else efficient. You have to have the tools, you have to have the resources, you have to have the expertise, the processes, the plans, and the documentation.
Just a great conversation. I'm just so elated that we had an opportunity to talk. I'm so glad you reached out to me and said, "Hey, what's up with this show?"
I'm trying to get myself back out there. I have been behind the scenes, pregnant and being a new mom for the last 3 years while working to grow in these ways. So I'm excited for any opportunity to talk with like-minded people, to talk about marketing, to let people know that I'm a resource that they can learn from and or hire. I'm just happy to be a part of this. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, I definitely will be tapping into you, of course, with all consideration of what else you've got going on. I'm just interested in learning more and becoming more, more of an asset in the industry myself, as far as, doing the show and doing other things that I
Mhm.
do for other brands. I say I'm a brand helping other brands build,
Yeah.
helping other brands build their brand. So
Mhm.
um, I appreciate your time. I don't want to
Thank you.
hold you. I know you've got family and whatnot. This has been a great conversation. It will
Yeah.
be available for replay always.
Great.
So you can have, so you'll have access to it, and everybody else will have access to, because this was a good word.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a good word. It was what we need to hear in the midst of all that's being thrown at us,
Yeah.
and challenged, where it's like, okay, we're going to thrive, we're going to emerge, we're not going to submerge, and we might have to do some work, might have to do some inner
Yeah.
work that is not pretty, but we can thrive when we face it. And that's what
Yes.
you did. That's your story speaks to your decision, no matter how long it took. Everybody
Yeah.
has a journey, and there's that evolution. But your story speaks to the fact that you were willing to grow and change,
Yeah.
and face some stuff and face some fears and whatever else that we get, and that stinking thinking that we get
Mhm.
um locked into. So I appreciate you coming on the show,
Thank you.
and good luck on everything that you're endeavoring to do. July 6th is the date, correct,
Yeah.
that you're
Yes.
opening up your client
I'm
available?
opening my books back up. I've got some clients on the books, but I'm closing those up so that I can open up for some new services. So, one unique thing I would like to say, I am probably one of the few people, especially Black owned, that actually owns a web design software. So, GoDaddy, Wix, Squarespace, when you've got your WYSIWYG, I have invested in a software. So, as there are many web designers who can design but have to use somebody else's software, you'll be coming to me for the strategy and the software. It's just a one-stop shop.
Now, what does that mean exactly, when you say that? Like, so I would not go to GoDaddy, I would come to you for the
Yes.
domain? Okay,
Well, not the domain, the actual site that you design on. So, for instance, the domain is the address
got it.
and
Okay,
the site is the house. Yeah. So,
okay.
I will be the builder and the contractor for your house.
Wow.
Yeah, so the templates that you design on Unlimited Space and Amazon Web Server is the server that my sites are built on.
Now, what's your contact information, Marci? We've got your, I think you can see it where we've got your Instagram handle. Is that the best way to connect with you versus anybody that might not have a pen or anything, or can't get to it right
Yes,
now, at
I
Marci
made it I
Marketing?
made it simple and consistent because that's what I preach to my clients. Please have it be easy no matter where they're searching, it should be the same thing. So if it's Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Google, my website, jusadded.com, it is all Marci B Marketing. I look forward to hearing from you all.
MarciBMarketing.com,
Yes.
at Marci B Marketing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I
Thank you.
so
Thank you. Thank you.
appreciate you. This has been great. I didn't realize, I was looking forward to our interview, but I didn't realize that it was just going to invigorate me personally.
That's
Um,
exciting. I'm happy to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah, it is. I'm excited
Good.
for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Got anything else going on, please reach out and we can definitely do this again. And good luck to you.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Make your marketing stick. I'm Marci B. Have a good evening.
You too, honey. Talk to you
All
soon.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank you once again for tuning in. Wow, what an inspirational story. I know I'm invigorated and ready to roll and market and do my thing. That was great. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for another edition of Life and Style with Francyne. You can reach out to Marci at Marci B Marketing at Instagram, and then you can connect with her that way, or marcibmarketing.com for more information if you have any questions for Marci. Thanks again for watching Life and Style with Francyne. I am Francyne Walker. You can connect with me at francinewalker.com or at Francyne Walker TV on Instagram. You can search. I always say Google. You can search YouTube, Francyne Walker. My channel will come up. That's where all my replays will be. Or you can find me at Life and Style Francyne with Francyne on my Facebook page. Life and Style with Francyne. That's my Facebook page. Thanks again, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.